Get ready for the Squawking Eagles Podcast, the show that covers only the Philadelphia Eagles. Think different. Think Squawking Eagles Podcast.
Hey, whatever I come in on Monday and whatever they tell me to do, I'm going to do it to my best ability. One, because I love football, and two, because I love the Eagles in Philadelphia. Do anything for this city. If it's playing off the ball back, I'll do it. If it's playing on the ball back, I'll do it. So it really don't matter to me. Football is football at the end of the day. You got to go fly around and hit somebody dead in their no matter if you on the ball or off the ball.
And welcome to the Squawking Eagles Podcast. What you just heard was Nolan Smith. He is ready and thirsty to start this season. OTAs have begun. I'm Mike, and Miguel has joined me. How you doing, buddy?
What's going on, my guy?
Doing well. We had to take a week off last week because of
Life.
some unexpected events,
Yeah,
to say the least. Life got in the way.
Yep. Shout out to the new Sanchez family member, Adriel Sanchez. Welcome to Earth. We love you.
Yes. Happy birthing day to mom. Happy birthday, the little baby.
Thanks.
We're just you and me today. Mark is MIA. I'm sure he's busy and he's getting a lot of work done. And getting the end of the school year, doing a lot of stuff with his daughter. So we will start here. He may show up, he may not, but if he does, we'll squeeze him into the conversation. If you want to follow us over at Squawking Eagles Podcast on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook, we are over on there. If you want to leave us a voicemail, it could be anything, a rant, something you heard on the radio, anything that you would like to talk about. It could be, if you want to talk about the Phillies, you can talk about the Phillies, put that on there. We just want to hear from you, see what you say. Our phone number is 267-293-6963. So today on the podcast, we're going to talk a little bit about Philly what-if moments. What-if moments, like what if Donovan McNabb and Terrell Owens stayed, I guess you could say, friendly on the field and off the field, stuff like that. All Philly moments, not just Eagles, but baseball, basketball, football. And I know Mark sent us some what-ifs for hockey, so we'll read his what-ifs because I have no idea what the what-ifs for hockey could be.
Either way.
Oh, there's only one. I wish he was here. It would be if Eric Lindros could skate with his head up, how much better would the Flyers have been? So we're going to talk about that. Some things that are going to come to the podcast in the near future during the games, during the season. We're going to give out I guess we're going to do like the Squawking Eagles Podcast Player of the Game Awards. So we'll talk about that. I think we're also going to do like Player of the Week or Player of the Month for the Eagles. So we're going to start doing a little bit more like that for content on the Instagram. We're going to do some more of the new NFL that we have come up last year, where we reorganized all the divisions and we simulated the season along with the NFL. And then we had I simulated their postseason after the Super Bowl last year. I might consider running it at the same time as the Super Bowl this year because people were confused about why we were doing it. But I needed content for after the Super Bowl, and that's why we had that.
I mean, it makes sense. We have to have something to put up, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so you go through a dry spell here.
Right.
We're gonna be doing another giveaway with the Fumblerooski podcast. They are going to be putting up I believe an AJ Brown jersey up for a contest to win. So keep a lookout on the Instagram page for that. If you're listening to this on Spotify, we need our Spotify follower count to go up. So if you're listening to it on Spotify and you're not following, please follow along. We need your support. Okay, let's jump into Philly what-if moments. My Philly what-if moment, I'm going to go with baseball because right now baseball is in full swing. Phillies have the best record in baseball. And I think they have also the best first baseman in baseball right now with Bryce Harper. My Philly moment is I was a baseball player. I played first base. I've always really kind of drawn to first baseman. Now that Bryce Harper's a first baseman, it's like extra sweet that he is there. One of my favorite first basemen was Ryan Howard. Ryan Howard had a stretch of his career where he was the best baseball player in the game, without a doubt. And in 2010, in a playoff game against the Giants, he swung, and as he was running out of the batter's box, pulls his Achilles tendon and goes down. He pretty much missed, I think, the first half of the season. Huh? What's that?
As he was swinging? I thought it was as he was swinging.
As he was running out of the box. As he was running out of the box, he went down. He couldn't even make it out of the box. And that was pretty much the beginning of the end of his career. His numbers never reached anything, anything like it were in that 5-year span. But my big what if he doesn't do that? Do the Phillies go on to win that World Series? Do they win the World Series in 2012 with Roy Halladay? They had a span there. They could have won at least 3 or 4 World Series I feel if he didn't get hurt.
I'm trying to recall this series, but I think that was like the elimination game. So we were already behind in the series. And I think that was just the icing on the cake, if you will, of just how that season went. Because that was coming off of facing the Yankees the previous year in the World Series. Yeah. So I just feel like, we made it back, but that whole playoff game run was a struggle for the Phillies.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Who knows? Like, this is a what if, right? So
it's a what if. He doesn't. What if? Do they win? Do they win that series? Do they go on to win the World Series in 2012? I don't know. I just feel like that was the span. Like, he doesn't get hurt, it totally changes the trajectory of the Phillies. You could also whole butterfly effect thing. He do the Phillies hold on to those older players too long too? Like, he got hurt. His contract was a huge contract. It was hard to get rid of him. The Phillies held on to all those core players too long, and because of that, they suffered for a long time. Ruben Amaro, man, he kept holding on to Victorino and Utley and Ruiz and Howard and Rollins. He held on so long without replenishing their system, and it just decimated them.
It sure is.
They struggled for a long time. Now they are back on top. They're playing.
We've been up there for the last couple of years, on and off.
Yeah, this is the best they've played. Like, I think they said, definitely the best record I think they've had in a stretch of franchise history. Their best record in franchise history at the 50-game stretch. So it's really cool.
I think they're the fastest team to 22 wins or 20 wins or something like that this season.
Yeah. They were first to 20, first to 30, and they're pretty close to 40 now. So
nice.
Those 3 game, it is going by fast. That 3-game losing streak didn't help, but now they're back on track, and
it's okay. You can't win them all.
No. All right, so that was a baseball one for me. Do you have a baseball one that you can think of?
A baseball one.
Yeah.
What if we would have stuck with Jason Worth?
Oh, that's a good one.
What if we would have stuck with Jason Worth? They wouldn't make the play for what was the guy that was on the Giants that played like 2 seasons here? Aaron
Rowland.
Yeah. They wouldn't pursue him. He's probably the new core, because that's when they got rid of Howard and all of them. So,
they didn't want to get. That was a time where they didn't want to give out a lot of money to an older player, and the Washington Nationals, they had a lot of money to burn, and
he was one of those first 100,000 or $100 million contracts or whatever.
Yeah, he got a huge contract from the Nationals, and which in turn led them to a World Series. He won a World Series with them, so it was worth it for the Nationals to put out the money. I love Jason Worth. He was great. I would have loved to have him finish his career here. That just didn't, just not going to happen. Okay, so let's move on to basketball. We'll save football to the end. Basketball. Now the Sixers were fortunate to have Wilt Chamberlain play for them because of the way, because he grew up in Pennsylvania and he went to school in Pennsylvania. So there wasn't an NBA draft. It was like it was called like a territory draft. So you had first pick over players that were in that territory. Okay. What if Wilt Chamberlain played his whole career with the 76ers? Do they win multiple championships with Dr. J and Wilt Chamberlain?
I think definitely. I don't think there was any competition. I mean, Boston at that time, did they have
Russell?
They had Russell at that time, right?
Yep.
So that would have been really the only competition. So every year the Eastern Conference Finals would have been the game to watch.
100%. So,
I mean, yeah, I could see. Listen,
would that be amazing? Would that just be amazing?
It would have been.
Right?
It would have been, but we're Philadelphia. Shit like that don't happen here.
No. It just doesn't. It just doesn't. And it's like, once we have these players, we want to hold on to them and put them on this pedestal for such a long time because, they are generational. Joel Embiid is a generational player. And I think the Sixers have wasted most of his years. I'm sad to say. The whole process.
A lot of bad decisions made in that Sixers front office. We should have kept Jimmy Butler instead of Ben Simmons.
You hear the talks about the Sixers giving Jimmy Butler a max contract in a trade?
I did hear something like that, but while I was in the gym today, I'm not sure if this is accurate information. But there was a commercial that said was for the new Bad Boys movie with Martin Lawrence and Will Smith, and it says Jimmy Butler signs back with Miami Heat. Now I don't know if that was breaking news. Matter of fact, I should probably check before I say all this information.
That would be. I haven't been on the internet for a while, so I didn't know.
Yeah, that would shock me.
Yeah.
For the Sixers to do something like that.
It would be shocking, yeah.
About that. But.
Another 76ers what if? What if they surrounded Charles Barkley with more talent than he had, rather than just assuming he was the only guy that can lead them to a championship? And what if Charles Barkley won a championship with the 76ers?
So Charles Barkley is famous. Well, I listen to Charles a lot. Yeah. He's got a story out there that he told the Sixers front office who to draft in that draft because they had the first or second pick.
Okay.
He told the Sixers, if you bring this guy in, we could do something. The Sixers then listened to him. They drafted the other guy, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
So it's not like Charles wanted to get out of here. It was just bad decisions by ownership in the front office that was reason that Chuck didn't stay in Philly.
Yeah. It's like go back and redraft when the Portland Trailblazers decide to draft Sam Bowie over Michael Jordan. Do you think they switch that up if you redraft? Do they take Michael Jordan above Sam Bowie?
Mike, Jay-Z put it in a lyric. With the third pick, I made the earth sick.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's wild.
MJ, it's just wild that I'm sure that that Portland front office would like to have that draft back.
I would say so. Like if they ever got a hold of a time machine, do they go back to that?
Oh yeah, they definitely do. They definitely do. Definitely do.
That changes a trajectory of team. Yeah, go ahead.
I got one for you. What if the Allen Iverson Sixers beat the Lakers in 0-1?
They
Shaq
win.
and Kobe in their prime.
Yeah.
basically Allen Iverson by himself. The trajectory of his career completely changes. Not that Iverson is not already an iconic player. He's done so much to change the culture of the NBA. Like you see a lot of these players with the cornrows, with the one sleeve, with the crossover. Like if you're a believer that Allen Iverson had no influence on the game of basketball, then you don't know basketball. So
100%, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But imagine if he wins that series, just winning the first game alone with a step over Tyronn Lue.
Yeah, I love that.
Was iconic.
Yeah.
Now imagine that if they would have won that series, how much of a bigger star Allen Iverson would have became.
I think he would have been even a bigger star, more than he is already in Philadelphia. He would have been a bigger star throughout the NBA.
That guy has never have to pay for a meal in Philadelphia.
Never. But also, he would have probably been able to draw bigger name players after winning a championship in Philadelphia.
Right.
Because he's got that one underneath his belt. It's always hard to repeat. So they get another guy in there, like a big man, a big two. You can't really have Aaron McKee and they tried with Dikembe Mutombo, right? They tried.
Well, then after that they came back with Derek Coleman.
Yeah,
remember?
Derek Coleman.
And he had the coach experiment. That didn't work.
No, they couldn't do it.
Failure.
Yeah, but I think that was the year. That was the year to do it. That was the year to beat the Lakers with Kobe and Shaq, and a more of a solidified career he would have had. He had a great career. He did have a great career. It's just that he is. It would have just definitely been nice to see him get a ring as a Sixer. So the one hockey one I thought that Mark said was, what if the Flyers force a Game 7 in 2010 finals? I don't know. I wish Mark was here. I don't know what happens. I guess
I don't remember.
Do they win the Stanley Cup? I don't know.
I don't know either.
Here's another one. He says, what if the Islanders are called for their offsides in 1980 Stanley Cup, which led to their victory? I don't know. Yes, I guess if they were called offsides, so the Flyers would have won. Sure.
Sure. Okay.
Sure. And then my one is, what if Eric Lindros can skate with his head up? He would have missed a lot of those hard hits he took and stayed healthy, and they could have probably won a Stanley Cup or two with Eric Lindros. I believe that year with Rob Brendamore and Chris Ricci, and Lindros. That was the Legion of Boom, I think it was called, or Legion of Doom. Yeah, I didn't follow hockey. I only follow hockey when it's like playoff time, and not a big hockey fan.
Yeah, I'm not either. I vaguely remember some of those names. Like, of course, you can remember Eric Lindros.
Yeah, great. Rob Brendamore. I think Rob Brendamore was on that team.
Wasn't there Garth Snow or something like that? Wasn't he a goalie or something like that?
Garth Snow was a goalie, but I don't know if he was on that team or not. I'm not sure who the goalie was for that team.
Yeah, if a terrorist held me hostage and said the only way I can live is to answer these Philadelphia Flyers trivia questions,
say goodbye, Miguel.
Yeah, I have to look at my mom in the eye and say, "I'm sorry, Mom. I love Philadelphia sports, but not the Flyers." I'm dead.
You're right. There's also just to go back to the Sixers, they just did a what if the Sixers don't pass on Tatum and Jaylen Brown back-to-back years? What if they don't do that?
They have a dynasty right now.
They would have a dynasty. It would be Embiid, Jaylen Brown, and Jason Tatum. Wow.
Who do you defend? What kind of zone defense do you play?
Yeah, what are you going to do? How do you stop that?
That's kind of what I'm watching the pregame to the Dallas Mavericks and the Timberwolves playing later tonight. But minus the skill level at the center position for the Minnesota Wolves, I think that's what the Sixers would look like. Would look like what currently the Wolves look like right now.
Yeah, they're a good team.
A lot of outside perimeter shooting, a lot of Anthony Edwards. Tatum could have been that guy. But you know what? Now that I think about it, I don't know. Tatum's been getting a bad rep lately, especially in these last couple series that he's played in. Feels like Jaylen Brown's been like carrying him a lot more than he's supposed to.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
It's going to be. I would love to see Dallas Mavericks, Boston Celtics. I don't know if the Timberwolves can beat the Celtics.
No, but I want to see Anthony Edwards in the finals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want that guy. That guy is. I hate Karl Anthony Towns, but
Yeah.
Anthony Edwards has my heart right now, man. Like I think he's my favorite basketball player right now. Just the passion that he plays with, and what we've seen from him out of this playoff run.
Yeah, this is somebody was referencing these two guys, Edwards and Doncic, going against each other like a Bird Magic kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Do you see that?
Yeah,
happening?
yeah, I do. I it's kind of reminiscent of that because, Doncic's highly touted European star coming out. Anthony Edwards, one of the best college players to come out of the college ranks in a long time.
Yeah.
Best of both worlds, I guess. You get the European audience paying attention as well as the those diehard basketball fans that have watched college and now can appreciate him in the pros.
Yeah.
So I do get that. I kind of get that too with the Caitlin Clark and what's the other girl that's in
Ashley Angel Reese.
Yeah, Angel Reese. It's the same thing I see for the NBA, WNBA.
That's been fun to watch. Caitlin Clark and them and Christian Brink. They've been fun to see that.
It has been, but I feel like, and not for nothing, and I don't want to take this conversation left, but I feel like they make that conversation of the WNBA more racial than it should be.
I think you're right.
More of a black and white thing than it is a talent or skill thing than it is.
Yeah. Well, if you take aside Caitlin Clark, if you watch the Las Vegas Aces play, they're lights out. They're a great team. What was I was going to ask you a question about. I like the storyline where Dallas goes into Boston with Kyrie Irving coming back to Boston after saying he'd never leave there.
I mean, yes, I would love to see that as well. I've heard him talk recently saying, that was a young part of his life, and now he's matured and he's changed and this, that, and the third. But yeah, I would love to see the reaction of the Boston fans of him coming back into TD Garden, and hearing the boos, because he's going to hear the boos.
Yeah.
But I mean, look at the guy. You can't deny that guy's skill. As much as I hate who he is, hated who he was off the court, because I'm not sure who he is now off the court. But all that COVID talk that he had, all that spiritual, all that flat earth shit that he put out there was really annoying. And now to see him just be, and I hate to say this, shut up and dribble, but just to see him do that, it's kind of great. Well, one, for him, but two, for the league as well. And us as fans get to enjoy seeing him use that skill on the court. And listen, they might be up to 3-1, but all these games, all 5 games have been so far close. And the only reason Minnesota's lost these games is because they're so young that they just blow the games in the last 5 minutes of the game.
Yeah, that's another storyline. If Minnesota does come back and beat Dallas, Minnesota going up against Boston, one of the storied franchises in the NBA, going against a team that has never been in the NBA Finals. Right. Yeah, that's another storyline that they can roll. Like either way, Dallas or Minnesota, there's a good storyline for both of those teams going to the finals. I've been rooting for the Mavericks because I like Luka. I like his play. I do love European basketball players for some reason. I don't know. I just like the way they play. And like Dallas is like a European like pipeline because they had Dirk for a long time, and now they had Porzingis for a little bit, and now they've got Luka. It's an interesting dynamics there. Did you catch who was on the sidelines of the game? Guys collecting basketball jerseys left and right.
Michael Parsons.
Yeah, yes, Micah Parsons. That guy is nuts. He is. I think everybody knows we're not big fans of him because he's for Dallas.
Mhm.
I'd be happy with him if he wants to come to Philadelphia and play as a linebacker. I'd be happy.
I mean, he's got 2 years left on his contract,
I know.
so we'll see.
Yeah, Huff will be gone, and who knows what else is going to be there. But that's funny.
Yeah.
All right, so we got a few what? So we got a few what ifs for the Eagles. This is an Eagles podcast. We're big Eagles fans, so we have a lot to think about when talking about the Eagles. One of the big what ifs, what if Carson Wentz doesn't tear his ACL, MCL, all those L's in his knee, diving into the end zone? Do they go on and win the Super Bowl like they did with Nick Foles? Does that? I think I would say no. I don't think they win the Super Bowl.
Why? If
because
we don't win, I don't think it'll be because of Carson. Not that season.
They don't win the Super Bowl that season. If I don't even think they make it to the Super Bowl that season.
Why not?
Because they were already struggling to begin with in the beginning of that season. If you remember, they barely beat the Chiefs. They lost to the Chiefs. They beat the Giants just by a field goal. They weren't blowing teams out. They blew out the Cardinals. I think they blew out. I think they blew out the Panthers. I can't remember, but they had 2 or 3 blowouts. But every other game was pretty close. And I think they barely won that Rams game when Nick Foles came in. And then they ended up losing to the Raiders at the end of the season. They lost. They had like a 3-game losing streak to the end of the season. They went on a run in those playoffs. I don't know what got into them, but something did, and that's why they won that Super Bowl. They don't have, if Carson Wentz doesn't go down, they don't have that like extra, pep in their step to prove a point. And I just don't think they win the Super Bowl because of that.
I can see your point of view. You say that, but that season, Carson Wentz was an MVP candidate. Like, he was having a hell of a season.
He was.
So, I mean, yes, I'm trying to remember because I remember now that I was in Puerto Rico and the last part of that season when he got hurt. When he got hurt, I was in Puerto Rico. And I was devastated. Like, season's over. I can't believe it. And then we came back. But when I came back, I think I forget who we played the first round. Minnesota. Or Atlanta. Or was that the Atlanta game?
Oh, no, it was Atlanta. It was Atlanta, then Minnesota. Right?
Yeah. When we beat that Atlanta, when I came back and won that Atlanta game, I said, we have a chance. We have a shot. But hey,
if Matt Ryan doesn't throw that ball a foot over Julio Jones's head, Eagles lose that game.
Right, but we're not. You're talking if he doesn't tear his ACL, his knee up.
That's another what if. That's another what if.
But that's the what if you brought to the table. You didn't bring up.
I know. Yeah, I know.
That's just another asterisk to that. But I don't know. That's a hard call. It would be interesting to see.
How much I love the Eagles winning that Super Bowl, I just don't see them winning it with Carson Wentz that year. Just based off the play, how they finished out the season. They finished out the season like they limped into that first round. They had a bye. So then they played. Did they have a bye? Yeah, they did have a bye.
Yeah, they had a bye.
Yeah, and so they ended up playing the Falcons, and they beat the Falcons, but only with Nick Foles, and only by a foot, a different way. That's he catches that ball, the game's over.
Hey, listen, football is a game of inches.
It certainly is. It certainly is. And so that the Eagles, I think, had a different. They put in a different gear after that when the playoffs started. They were a different team. They ran different plays. They ran things that they weren't doing with Carson Wentz that they did with Nick Foles, right?
Yeah, this is true. They went more to the RPO style of playing. Right. They had Alshon out there. They had who else was in that team? As far as receivers,
they had Nelson Aguilar. They had the old guy from the Ravens.
Smith.
Yep. Smith from the Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
Ertz, of course. Ertz.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, and then had the backfield, right?
Yeah, they had Jason Ajayi and Corey Blunt and Chris Clement.
Right.
Yeah, it was an interesting team. That if you read off those names aren't like, oh, that's an all-star team right there. That's not. If you match up the roster for the Eagles now against that roster, like Eagles roster now is 1,000 times better than that roster.
Yeah, definitely is.
Right.
Well, because they're younger too.
Sure.
Yeah.
It was. Hey, I know if Mark was here, he would be saying differently about how that team was built. I'm not going to go into much of that, but because we've closed the book on that.
I'm past that so much. So bad. I'm past that.
We're done. So done. So that's another what if. What if Carson Wentz doesn't tear his Achilles and they win? What's another one here?
I mean, the only one that comes to my mind, I think we touched about it on the last pod, was what if we would have kept Andy Reid instead of firing him?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I think he may bounce back, but who knows?
Yeah, does the spiral continue to happen, and Jeffrey Lurie becomes stuck in the mud? A stick in the mud, doesn't want to change the regime, and they keep going down and down. And Philadelphia sports fans, they can tolerate losing for so long, and if you don't win, it becomes a real problem. My big one was Randall Cunningham not breaking his leg against Bryce Pop against the Packers. That was the year. The Minister of Defense I think he had in Reggie Waite's career with the Eagles, he had more sacks than games played.
Yeah. In
his Eagles career. Like, that's insane. Like, that was a team that was destined to go to a Super Bowl. And I think him losing, blowing out his knee, breaking his leg, that was the end of anything after that. Randall wasn't the same player come back after that.
Yeah, and he big in, especially back in those times when there's not as much sports science as there is now in these things where, back in those days, you tore your knee up, it was pretty much a career. Now it's just 6 to 8 weeks rest, and that would have been interesting to see.
So we're talking about all these what ifs because Philly sports has a lot of what if moments throughout the years of Philly sports. And Mark's not here, so you and I are the same age.
Right.
And so over that span of years of us 40, I'm just going to go back 40 years because I'll go back to 1983. I'll go to 80. I can do 80, but it's kind of like, okay, we'll go back to 1980. 1980, that's 44 years.
Okay.
And that is 100 and like it's 100 and what's that? I have 160 plus seasons of Flyers, Eagles, Phillies, and Sixers. So it's 4 seasons of those teams, 44 years. Out of those years, how many championships does Philadelphia sports have? Because recently a group has defined Philly fans as grumpy and disgruntled and over these past 44 years. But do you know why they're so disgruntled and so grumpy? Because all of those 44 years, how many championships were made?
I'm trying to calculate in my head.
I'll tell you, I have it written down.
Okay. I know we were there. We were in the finals a couple times. So let me see. Do the calculation in my head.
It's eye opening.
So I can only go by in my lifetime. The Sixers won in 86.
83.
83. Okay. The Phillies won in 90. No. Oh, 2?
1980
Uh-huh.
and 2008.
1980 and 2008. Right. And then the Eagles won. So 3. We have 3 championships in our lifetime.
Well, 4. Four championships because the Sixers in 83, the Eagles in 2017,
all right,
the Phillies in 80, and the Phillies in 2008. Okay. Only 4.
I've only been to parade, so
right, and the Flyers in that 40-year span have not won a Stanley Cup at all. Their last one was 1974.
Yeah, that's when they were still the Broad Street Bullies. And
that's right. Yeah, and so that's 44 years, 160 plus seasons, 4 championships. That is why Eagles fans and Sixers fans and Phillies are so passionate and thirsty.
Especially when we've been so close so many times.
Yeah, I feel like
we've been on the cusp.
It's like I think we've been on the cusp way too many times.
Yeah,
way too many times. Like Kawhi Leonard's double, triple doink. Like, if that doesn't go in, the Sixers move past the second round. Like, they do it. They get it. They're done. They got it.
A lot of people say that is the curse of the process. Like, we'll never advance past the second round because of what the sins that we've committed as a franchise.
Yeah, they really, there's the Sam Henke crew and the non-Sam Henke crew.
Let's not talk about the Burners and all that stuff. Fucking Jerry Buss, or what's his name?
Not Buss. He was the son of the owner of the Sun. He was the son of the owner of the Suns. Colangelo.
There you go. That guy. Jerk off.
Yeah, that could very well be. If there's a curse, if curse existed, that's it.
Are you saying you don't believe in curse?
I said if curse if they existed, and that's a curse.
Nation sounds like you're not a believer in curses, Mike.
I'm a believer in bad juju. I believe in that.
Then, are you a believer of?
I'm superstitious
of the William Penn curse?
Yes. Yes.
You wait. So
that's been broken. That's been broken.
Right, but so were you a believer at that time that was a curse?
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
Because I truly believe it was.
Yeah, for sure.
It's funny that they built a new Comcast tower and they put a replica up there and we win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's not a coincidence, right?
Yeah. Just saying.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so I think the basketball gods have put something onto the 76ers for this way they have handled their basketball operations, I guess you can say, right? Because no other team tanked so much and kind of like out of all the tanking, they were supposed to receive all these gifts, right? These generational talents, having the top picks in the draft, and where are they? The only person that's left is Joel Embiid, and Markelle Fultz was kind of like they kind of lucked out on not Markelle Fultz, Tyrese Maxey. They've lucked out on him.
Yeah, second round pick.
Second round, he was in the first round, but it was much lower.
20 pick, right?
Yeah, it's 2020, and he 1 year in Kentucky, and he came out. It was like I think they were lucky on that one. So, for teams, I kind of wish I was watching the Indiana Pacers games. I kind of wish the 76ers had a player like TJ McConnell on the team to come off the bench.
The same thing, dude. I was like, do you see the heart that this guy plays with? First of all, I looked at my dad and I said, you know what? When TJ McConnell is done being a player in the NBA, he's going to be a hell of a coach.
Great coach. Yeah.
Yeah. If that's the path he decides to take. I could just see it already that he's going to be – come on, Bref. That was a travel. Yeah, as you can see that he's going to be a great coach. But the guy plays with so much heart, man.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. They called Post Malone the White Iverson. I think we need to call T.J. McConnell the White Iverson, man. Because
Yeah.
the heart that guy plays with is fucking incredible.
And the size that he is, he's got a
Yeah.
lot of size. Yeah, he definitely doesn't play the role that he was meant to play,
Exactly.
for sure.
Right.
Yeah, so like this, out of all of the Philadelphia teams, I think the Sixers have really kind of hit hard with those curses. I think you're right. There's a curse on that team. It's really sad because Joel Embiid deserves better. You know,
I think there's a curse on the Flyers. I'm not sure what that curse is because I'm not that deep into it, but it's something about that team and it being owned by Comcast, I'm guessing.
I think a lot of people will say, this is only what I've heard, is that the Flyers were very focused on growing their team from within rather than reaching out and bringing in people who were more hockey savvy. Like, for the longest time, they had Bobby Clark was their general manager. Well, Bobby Clark was a Flyer forever. And then after Bobby Clark, I think they kind of struggled to figure out, I think it was Ed Snyder, or is it Ed Snyder or Bannon, figure out who the Flyers were. And then they bring in Ron Hextall. Ron Hextall was a Flyer for the longest time, And so I think they are finally starting to get out of that cocoon of Flyer, orange and black, and trying to emerge as a different team other than what they're used to.
I agree. I've always thought that like they wanted to have or replicate what the New York Yankees have done, where they've had consistent success by just bringing in longtime Yankees as managers, as GMs, or whatever the case may be. Plus, and then they had I forget what that guy's the GM's name was that they brought in that kind of helped them out.
Oh,
they still there.
The Flyers guy, I don't know. I don't know.
No, for the Yankees.
Cashman?
Yeah, Cashman.
Yeah, Brian Cashman.
That guy is locked in as a GM forever until the day he dies for the Yankees, and I think that's something that the Flyers need to establish as far as in hockey.
Yeah. Yeah, Cashman, I think, has been a GM for the Yankees since 1992, I think.
Yeah, I think he has I think he has a stake in ownership now.
He probably, at this point, he probably does, because he was with them when before they won the World Series in '96, I think. I'm trying to find out. Yeah, I'm trying to find out when he started as a general manager for the Yankees. He was an assistant general manager in 1996, so he wasn't a full-time general manager. He's been there with the Yankees since 1986, though. So that's why he probably has such a long-standing general time there.
I mean, he's had a lot of success though as well. So
100% success. So his predecessor Watson resigned in 1998. So he's been the GM since 1998. Full-time general manager. He's the one that brought in David Wells and Roger Clemens and David Justice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's the one that traded Alfonso Soriano for Alex Rodriguez. Like he's made huge trades in his career as a Yankees general manager. Yeah, so we're a tormented fan base we went throughout hockey and basketball, football and baseball, and some people wear that as a badge. I say, not many fan bases can say they have gone through such many losing seasons as the Phillies have or the Eagles have. And definitely, those fans that stuck it out with the 76ers all through those years of the process, those are some diehards. I would love to say I'm a 4-for-4 guy, but like I said, I'm not that much of a Flyer fan. And now that they have the union, I really can't say 5-for-5.
Definitely not. I mean, I would love to be a Union fan, though. I've heard that fan base is growing exponentially fast,
Yeah.
and they have a great culture there at that stadium. But I forgot, Mike. We also, I mean, it's defunct now, but the Philadelphia Soul won an arena football trophy.
That is
Add that to the
true.
list.
That is true. The Philadelphia Soul did win under Bon Jovi and Ron Jaworski. They did win an Arena Bowl league. I totally forgot that because, like you said, it is a defunct league. I wonder, the Philadelphia Soul might have won more than just one, I think. I know they won one, but I can't remember if they won two. I always loved the arena football. I used to watch it when they had the Tampa Bay Storm and the Iowa Barnstormers when Kurt Warner was on the Iowa Barnstormers.
Right.
That was a great league.
And by the way, UFL, like, why doesn't Philadelphia have a team? Like, we should have a team out there.
Right, they used to. I'm not sure. Have you been following at all what's going on with that? The USFL.
I catch it every once in a while on a Sunday. I'll if there's no basketball. Well, lately it's been the playoffs, so haven't really been paying attention to it. But if it's on Fox,
right,
I'll tune in. I'll watch. I feel like their fan base is getting a little big too.
People love football, and they would. They would definitely embrace a team that's going to play in Philadelphia for sure. I know they're talking about they've won 3 championships, Miguel, the Philadelphia Soul. They won 2008 and then back-to-back in 16 and 17.
And then they shut down the league
shut down the league. Yep. But I think they're going to have I think Philadelphia is on the course to get a WNBA team. And I think also Toronto might be getting one. So that league is expanding. So that's, there's a lot of leagues.
They just need to be supported. WNBA needs support right now.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see how, also they've just expansion. There's some baseball expansion talk to Mexico City. And for some reason, Oakland. I don't think Oakland deserves a baseball team the way they treated those Oakland A's teams. I just don't think that.
I don't think so either. But I mean, was it the ownership or was it the town? I mean,
it's a tough call. It's a tough call. The town didn't. I guess the town didn't come out to celebrate their last season in Oakland, and now they're going to play in Sacramento next year, and I think for the next 3 years while their stadium in Las Vegas is built.
That's just a hot mess. Let's not get into that story.
Yeah, bad. Yeah. So that will do it, Miguel. I think this was fun talking what ifs, going down a little history lessons of Philadelphia sports.
We didn't talk OTAs yet, though.
Okay, that's right. That is OTA talk. So OTAs. Yeah. There's a lot. These are optional practices.
Mm-hmm.
They're just activities. There's 7-on-7s. No pads.
Right.
And AJ Brown's there. Slay has come out. He was quoted that he's out there, and he showed up for his 12th season to show. And he says that he got his knee scoped in the off season.
Yep, he had it cleaned up.
Cleaned it up, and he said he feels like he's 25 years old again.
Yep, he's running. He said he had run a couple of races, and he's beat some of the faster guys on the 40-yard dash. So,
hey,
who knows if he stays healthy?
That's all that matters.
I mean, the biggest news I've heard is the wow factor of Isaiah Rodgers right now. Supposedly, he had a nice pick earlier at practice earlier today, and ran it back for a pick 6. So, I mean, I guess if Isaiah Rodgers is going to be impressive like that this early in training camp, I guess the rumors of Bradbury being on the market are getting louder. I've heard some rumors about a trade out there for Justin Simmons from Denver, trying to move him out there to try to grab that safety and bring him over. And maybe, I guess, slide him into that safety, second safety position, and take what's his name? Not CJ.
Blankenship.
Take Blankenship out of put him in as a backup.
Yeah, that would be another thing is that his name's Micah Becton. He's a right tackle. They brought him in from
the Jets.
The Jets.
Mekhi
Becton. He's looking good at right tackle. So
yeah, I even heard your boy Jordan Davis is down in weight.
Yes, he is.
He's restricted his diet. He's done a lot to improve his stamina, he says.
Yeah. And
you all heard what Nolan Smith said at the beginning. And I think that if Nolan Smith can be a breakout star this year, he'll definitely change what this defense should look like, or what we think would look like if he's an impactful player.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what he can do. I want him on the field more than he was last year, because he was barely on the field last year.
I mean, maybe that's the reason why the Eagles let him go. Let Hassan Reddick go to the Jets. They bring in Huff. They have Nolan back there. These guys are on fairly cheap contracts.
Yeah,
they're young, so might as well take a run at it. I mean, who knows how he could pull something off in it's still in the offseason. So
still the offseason.
It feels like we need a pass rusher. I'm sure he can,
yeah,
con somebody out of a.
I'm sure he can. I'm sure he will.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's going to be another thing, a big battle for the third receiver slot. The Eagles did sign John Ross. They signed him. I know he's not a big fan. Mark's not a big fan of John Ross, but they did sign him. Devontae Parker, who they signed from the Patriots, retired. So they also have Paris Campbell and the two rookies, Asante Smith, Ania Smith, and Johnny Wilson. So they have like four guys to battle for that third spot.
They have very young guys out there. From what I've heard, when Jalen throws to AJ Brown, it looks good. But when he throws to these younger guys, they still have some work to do, some chemistry to build.
They're doing a lot of Jalen and Saquon are doing a lot of passing drills, because they really do have to get used to each other for those downfield passes.
Well, I mean, they've been in the weight room with each other. I don't know if you saw the video of them squatting. They've had a friendly squatting competition to see who can squat the most.
Yes, Jalen has a huge smile on his face. He is loving the fact that there's a guy like Saquon Barkley in the building, and I as well. I'm a big I didn't like Saquon because he was on the Giants, but now that he's on the Eagles, I can't wait to see him in the backfield.
It's wild what the power of a jersey could do.
Oh, it is. It's completely like I have my friend. He's a Giants fan, and I used to take his kids to school, and they're big. He wore Saquon Barkley jersey to school because he was a big. I'm like, that's a disgusting jersey. Don't wear that in the car. And now it's like, oh, I can't wait to wear a Saquon jersey now. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. And this brings, now that you mentioned jersey, it just brings a question to my mind. By the end of this season, what jersey do you think you would want to purchase by the end of this season?
By the end of this season, if everything goes according to plan, a Saquon Barkley jersey.
Saquon,
yeah. 100%. To tell you the truth, though, I might have a Saquon Barkley jersey before the season starts, and I think I might have a Jordan Davis jersey by the end of this season.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think this is his year. This has got to be his year. I know. I said that last year, I'm pretty sure I said that last year, and I'm going to say it again.
Let's not bring up old stuff.
This is going to be his year. This is his year, and I think that Jalen Carter's going to have a whole year. He had a whole year under his belt. He's got that whole rookie dust off him now. He's got a little bit more stamina in his body. He kind of knows what an NFL season is going to be like. I'm excited to see how he's going to approach the next season, as he's the guy. He's not under Fletcher Cox anymore. No pun intended. It's just that.
Yeah.
But he's going to be the guy. Him and Jordan Davis. Like this is it.
He's got to be a leader now.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see. I'm excited for this season just because of what Howie has done to turn over the roster and to improve on it. Which it was a 10. Remember this is a 10-1 team at week 12. They were 10-1.
Right.
And then to only win one game the rest of the way, it's really hard to swallow and believe that actually happened. But because that happened, a lot of power rankings and predictions are not going the Eagles' way, and I think that's okay. Eagles can fly under the radar, and that could be okay.
That's what exactly I want. I don't want to be reminded of last season at all. I want this team to fly under the radar I only want them to be brought to the limelight when the time is right, when we're talking playoffs. That's the only time.
Yeah. Those first 5 weeks are going to be a good I guess it's going to be a good test. It's going to be a good checkpoint, because that early bye in week 5. Then they got 6 through 18. That's going to be a tough gauntlet right there.
It's definitely going to be a good gauge of what this team is going to be, what this team is going to look like. I mean, we got new coordinators, new defensive players. Hopefully, all these team bonding trips that they've taken bowling and into the weight room and all that stuff transfers to the field. Because they're going to need it. It's going to be a long season.
Yeah.
So we'll see, Mike. We'll see.
Jeff McClain asked Jordan Davis what it's like having Vic Fangio as their new defensive coordinator, and he said, "There's no bullshit. There's no bullshit." Like that's right there from your number one guy, I'm going to say right now. There's no bullshit. Vic Fangio is in there. He's not putting up with anything, and he's getting the job done, hopefully.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, that's what the Eagles brought him in for, right? They held on to him 2 seasons ago as a advisor, and now we were fortunate to get him in the building and have him as our coordinator. So let's see. Everything on paper, like. If we learned anything, we learned not to just trust what's on paper anymore. We've
done that.
The dream team and all that bullshit. We leave that shit in the past. Let's not talk about that. Let's not start getting too hyped up. Let's take 1 week at a time, like Nick Sirianni said. You gotta plant the seed and water the roots.
There we go. Okay. Little Nick Sirianni reference to planting and growing flowers here. Okay. Yeah, that'll do it for us. I'm excited for this offseason to continue. I think the last OTA is tomorrow, May 31st. We're going into June. So we got some stuff going on. We're growing. We're busy. Yeah.
You hear that the NFL wants to get rid of OTAs? They want to elongate, I guess, extend training camp and allow pads. They want to walk away from that.
Yeah,
they're talking about adding another week of football.
They want to add another week of football and reduce the preseason games, but make training camp longer to get, which would make sense. It would make sense to have training camp longer and then just 2 short preseason games. Right. Because honestly, like remember back in the day, there's like 4 or 5 preseason games. Like you don't need all of those.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think 2 is a good number, and a long training camp and get rid of OTAs is a good idea because they're going to go into the weight rooms and work out and throw the ball. They don't need to have specified dates for to do that. But I think it's a good idea. I'm on board with it. More football,
I agree.
more games. And it's more money for more money for people's pockets. I'm sure.
Oh yeah, yeah. Between the TV contracts and all the sponsorships, don't worry. The NFL is nice and healthy. It ain't going nowhere for a while.
No, it's not. And now the NBA is going to have a huge deal with NBC.
Yeah, I know. But too bad the TNT crew is going to be broken apart.
Well, did you hear Charles Barkley has a production studio, and he might sign Shaq and Ernie Johnson and Kenny Smith and do their own production of the NBA. Yeah.
Yeah, hey, do it.
That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome to see that. So that'd be cool to see. Miguel, thank you.
Not a problem, Mike. You know how we do. EAGLES. Eagles. Go Birds. I don't know what to play, Mike. Just
play
something
generic.
generic.